not everybody knows Jo Ann Lederman. I know they may know the name, but they don't know Jo Ann Lederman. And I have had the honor of knowing this beautiful woman for many years. In fact, I think she knew my in-laws way before she knew me. But we've also connected or reconnected lately as we have been studying together, and it's been such a joy and a pleasure. I absolutely adore it. And every Saturday is a tradition among my friends that Saturday about 12 o'clock, we hold court at Joanna's. We have a special table outside. This was actually before COVID hit, but before that, for years, my friends and I had a table outside at Joanna's, and we held court. Nobody could sit there. Everybody was welcome to join, though. Like, everybody came around, and it became like our little watering hole. And it was a place where we learned together, we laughed, we shared food, we also made memories. And it wasn't in our kitchen, but they were no less very Jewish memories, because we used to come from Beth, where we went to Torah study and minyan services, and then we would plop ourselves down for the next, hours. We would sit there, and oftentimes we would get a bottle of wine and like really make a festive thing out of this. And so Jo Ann often would come over on the weekends and come over and bring over a little rugala, for us, and share her little sweetness with us. And I just have such incredibly fond memories. And there's something that percolates there that I think emanates from you. And so we're going to talk all about Joanna's. We're going to talk about your home. We're going to talk about memories. We're going to talk, we'll throw in a little recipe here and there too. But I think that it's just amazing to have you come with your spirit and who you are to many of us who really bring Joanna's into our lives to help elevate our holiday experiences, that you in person are here with us to share with your recipes and the magic and the spirit with which you bring to food and to your family. So Jo Ann Lederman,
yes,
welcome to Memories from the Kitchen, and I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be with you. I really
love it. I love it. So we're sharing this on Facebook Live so that everybody else can join in as well. Why don't we begin by telling us, what are we making today, and why are we making this?
We are making this because we want to have the most savory, delicious, wonderful goodies as lifetime memories. I love to cook, and it's really important for me that everything have high flavor. Boring food, it's just not for me. And I love to share my zest for cooking and my recipes, and I find it a place of great pleasure and joy. It's something you can control during this time of COVID. So you have something that can be really rewarding to you at the end of just a little effort, because flavors make us feel good. It brings us back to our childhood, and it's a very embracing way to live. So I'm in the kitchen as much as I can be, and making everything for my friends. I'm still dropping things off for my friends, mask on at the door, just wanting people to be feeling a little bit better. It's an uplifting experience. It's also very psychodynamic to chop and peel. You get rid of anxiety when you're doing that. If you make loud chopping sounds, it's amazing.
You're not making memories. You are a therapist, and a very well-recognized one in this community. So that's where that little piece slid in there. So what are we making today?
Okay, so we are making, I'm going to bring this down a little and bring you over to part of the recipes. We are going to make an apple pudding, and I'm bringing you over to my stove because the apples have been peeled and cored, and with these are 4 Granny Smith apples, and they have been sliced, and I have parboiled them in a 1.5 cups of water for 10 minutes. Okay.
On the stove. So are you're saying that you peeled it, you sliced it, and then you put some water in there and you put it on the stove?
I did, for only 10 minutes.
Okay, and then you drained it?
No, I'm not going to drain it. I'm going to begin the recipe. But I wanted to show, in case anybody didn't know what a Granny Smith was, it's the green one, and it's wonderful for baking, okay? And if anybody would like me to show you how to core, I can do that as well. I have.
Do it, show us, because that's not my favorite thing to do, unless you have a core.
Well, I do.
Oh, well, you see? And by the way, you guys, I will send everybody who wants the recipe, I will send that out to you afterwards. So if you want to put your name in the chat, we can, I will be happy to send that to you.
It has a hole in it, makes life very easy. You just have to weight lift for a week or two. And then you put it right over the stem and you push down.
Don't embarrass us now.
You wiggle it around and there it comes.
Voila.
Voila, easy. And you have the beginning of peeling and these beautiful little apple rings, okay?
And so it's not mushy, right? It's just...
It's soft because it can fall apart now in 10 minutes.
Yeah. How thin, can you show us how thin you're slicing them?
Yes.
Can't see that. Okay, now I can see that. Everyone else can? Yeah.
But it can be thicker. It can be thicker. It desiccates very quickly. In 10 minutes, you will have the thickness you want.
Amazing.
I mean, the texture that you want, 10 minutes. So I poach it. I just poach it a little. And I see there's a little extra water here, so I'm just pouring it off.
Are you saving it for something or?
No.
How much water is added?
1.5 cups poaches it beautifully. Okay, so now I'm just, can you see this? I'm just putting it in my souffle dish. This is pretty.
How did you decide on this recipe? What's the,
Okay, pardon me?
how did you decide on this recipe? Is this something that is like a family favorite, or is it your favorite, or is it new?
Very lovely favorite of mine, but I just, my family has come to have it as a favorite, but it didn't come with me originally. I got it from my friend Jody Reese when she was Jody Reese. She was married to Ian Reese. Some of you know both of those names. And she made a beautiful Shabbat dinner for my son before his bar mitzvah. And this was one of the dishes. And she was generous enough to give me the recipe. So the recipe's pretty straightforward. The apple, I used to get the apples from a can of Comstock apples, but it's not apple pie filling. And they don't make, well, they do make it, but it's like $62 a case. And for 4 apples, I wasn't going to do that. So the next.
We like fresh anyway.
Pardon me?
We like fresh better.
Right. So the next step is 4 eggs, which it's so easy from this point. 4 eggs in my blender. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yep.
Okay, good. So 4
And
eggs.
Is this a recipe that you only do on Rosh Hashanah?
No, at dinner parties, it's fabulous. I mean, people just faint when you're having a meat or a chicken and veggies and a carbohydrate, and then you add this little punctuation of a fruit sometimes.
So it's not a dessert in your mind. This is something you're serving at dinner?
I do serve it at dinner, but my friends have enjoyed it for dessert. But I just like a little sweet on that plate. I don't know why, and sometimes I have more sweet than the other things because I have a sweet tooth. It's just wonderful. So,
well, I guess we use applesauce, I guess, on our plate, so it's probably like that.
Yeah. So now I'm putting in salt because the salt brings out the flavor.
Are you going to tell us how much?
Yes, I am. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And here we go.
Oh, here, I have the recipe, so I can say it too.
Okay, so 1.5 cups of sugar. A pox on me, I'm sorry. This is Jody's recipe. I'm gonna leave off a little, I'll make it 1 1/4. And 3/4 cup of flour. 2/3 of a cup of butter. Okay, I'm reserving a little. Okay, I'm reserving a little for the topping. Okay, so then I just put it in my blender.
On your recipe, you said 2/3 of a cup of melted butter, but you also said for the topping that you use softened butter. Is that separate from?
So
that?
I just take from the 2/3, I leave a little bit.
Okay, so you're not, okay, we'll get to the topping, but.
I don't want to get excessive with the butter. Okay, so hold your ears for a minute, okay? Nope, a little more. The flour hasn't totally integrated, but it's on its way. I can see it's going to be delicious. One more, 5 seconds more.
Hey, you've been making this since your son was 13?
On and off, yes. I sometimes I make carrot souffle as the sweet thing. Just all kinds. I like to play around. My friends who are with us today know that. I love to play around.
Did you have to put butter or any kind of spray or something on the
No,
inside of that?
plenty of butter in it. And then this feature is a lovely feature, nice and easy. I have frosted flakes in this bowl. And I add it to the butter. I crunch it up with my hand and make each flake be almost unrecognizable. Not as small as a breadcrumb, but quite a bit smaller than it was as a frosted flake. It's getting a second life. And this is a nice topping for other desserts if you don't have time to do crumble type of dessert toppings. Then I add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. So it gets that real cinnamony flavor. And voila, I'm gonna pour this on.
Do you ever make this at Joanna's?
No, but I think they could. They make my noodle pudding all the time. And if you girls request it, they're gonna make it. So that's that. Not tomorrow, not this holiday, next holiday, or anytime. It's beautiful anytime. So this is what it looks like. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then it bakes and the top gets brown. So you put it at 350, a preheated 350. Jody cooked it for an hour. I like things a little looser than she did. I cook it for around 50 minutes, 50.
Beautiful.
Okay,
Yep.
So that is that. And the next thing is, any questions?
Well, let's see. Do we have any questions on in our group here? I'd love to just ask you a couple of questions. Did you have
when can we come over? Would be the question.
exactly?
Give me 1 hour. So now the second recipe that I'm making.
Excuse
Joe.
me, did you say how many cornflakes?
Joe, can I ask you a couple of questions before we start the next recipe?
Of course.
So, well, first of all, we would love to see your face. Hi. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, how long has Joanna's been around? And was this your baby, or
Yes.
is it just named after you? And is it because of what you make in your home that you said, we have to do this? What's the genesis of that? Can you give us some insight?
That's a great question. My great-grandfather owned a hotel in the Tatra Mountains of Germany. And he raised horses for the Kaiser and had guests in this big guest house. And so there was the first kitchen I knew of. My other great-grandfather opened the first delicatessen in Greenwich Village in 1875 called Sus and Volks. So I have a lot of food in my history.
It's over.
My dad, my grandpa, owned 14
For
restaurants.
the webcast for the temple.
Uh-oh. Let's try to mute everybody.
It sounded like Peggy Brin. So my grandfather came over as a 10-year-old boy from Germany, from the Tatra Mountains people. And he swept floors in restaurants and ultimately became a manager. And then by the time of his death, he owned 14 restaurants in New York. Morgan's restaurant was his last two. And he was the kind of man who had gratitude his whole life. So on Thanksgiving, he'd open his doors to people of lesser means. And I have letters from the New York City Police Department testifying to the fact that he always opened his doors. My grandma said he'd go to work in the morning with his coat. He'd come back without a coat. He'd always give his clothing away to people who needed it. And people in New York loved him. And my dad went into business with him. My dad's dad had passed away. And he became a bon vivant restaurateur, and everybody loved my dad. He had this very flamboyant, adorable personality. And they were in the Garment Center and in the CBS building. And they served white linen tablecloth, bowls of ice with all kinds of crudités in it. And it was a very loving thing. So Alan comes into the family, my husband, and he's from a food family in New York. Also, funny thing.
What a like a perfect match.
It was crazy. His family owned Hershey Farms, a milk distribution business. And while he worked with my dad for a couple of years because he was in his family business, so he helped my dad out for a few years, we came down here and he went into a food distribution business. And then when he had early retirement, I was working, I'm a psychotherapist, and I said, look, why don't we just bring some more good food to Miami, like Dean and DeLuca, or, just something wonderful like Balducci's. Let's do it. So we laid in bed at night and we talked about it, and over a period of time, the plans were created, and it was perfect. We even stood on the corner with clickers to see how many cars went past 67th Avenue. We just really did our homework. Lo and behold, we could not know. We were in perfect condition to open on August 24th, 1992, and Andrew blew into town that day. So all of our careful research went to naught because everybody moved out of the neighborhood for 6, 8, 9 months, and nobody knew about us because we hadn't opened. 3 weeks after Andrew, my husband still hadn't opened, and I went to the sign store in the mall and I said, please write, we're open. And I put it on the door and he said, I'm not ready to open yet. I said, yeah, you are, because there's a customer inside. Mrs. Kellogg is inside. So he opened without the fanfare and without the customers, but after a struggle when you all came back and supported the store, it just became a very, very sweet, happy family place. My 2 sons are there now. And we have a lot of gratitude for our friends in the community, a lot of gratitude. And people have said nobody makes better rugelach than we do. And I have to agree, the chocolate chip cookies are divine. And the smiley
Black
face
and white cookies.
Yes, the black and white, our smiley
go
face
on and on.
face mask. Okay, so anyway, it's a labor of love, and we do it with our full hearts because we're a food family. And anything that you want on any day that you want it, just call them early in the morning, say, I'm having a guest or 5 guests. I'll bring you over my bowl so it looks like I made it. Please, could you do this for me? And they're going to do it because we're here to please you. So my love for cooking started at my grandma's knee. And then my nanny's knee, she was a Southern woman, Southern Black woman. And I just loved watching them and being with them and tasting raw dough and stuff like that. And
Well, it's interesting that you're talking about that, about your grandmother and your mother. And those are memories. Those are memories surrounding food. And they get under our skin. They get into our hearts and souls. And it's what we strive for to share with our families.
Yes, and when we go, we're going to remember, our kids are going to remember our flavors and our smells, and it's going to just bring us back, it'll bring us back to them. And I love to have a very
What is like do you think of a Rosh Hashanah family memory from your grandmother and from your mom? Do you remember like early memories of Rosh Hashanah?
aside from the fabulous food, because Nana always made apple pie in an iron pan, in one of those black iron skillets. She made her apple pie in that, and just baked. It was unbelievable, and her chopped chicken liver and her soups. But it was always the animation of the family. It was a big family, and everybody was chattering. And my grandma was the watering hole and the glue of the family. And she had 5 siblings, and everybody came, and it was just a fabulous family and food and fun and friends.
Were you able to translate that for your
Oh.
little nucleus?
Oh yeah, I have. I bring everybody to me, my friends, my children. And I mean, who doesn't feel wonderful after a lively conversation full of love and wonderful food? I mean, it's just such a glue, isn't it? So, I mean, I'm even suggesting that during this time of COVID that we make little things for our friends and drop them off.
Mm.
That we like leave our essence with them so they just feel amazing, or that we have like little dinner parties or coffee clatches and we zoom in with them and just make it special. We can still dine together. We just, won't smell or touch each other, but we can still do it.
Beautiful.
It was a big glue. I have a family dinner on Wednesday nights with 4 families coming together with Zoom, and we all make the same recipe. So we're eating the same thing at the same time.
I love that. What's the occasion on Wednesday? Just like that?
Pardon me?
Is there something happening on Wednesday? Like what's on?
No, the college didn't have classes, and we have, the COVID, so we can't touch each other. So we're just seeing each other and
Love that.
it that way. So,
All right, I have some more questions for you, but maybe we should start our next recipe.
okay, here we go.
What are we
So
doing?
we are doing zucchini fritters. Now, I just want to say, this is new to me. I have just learned it in the last few months, and I've gone a little zucchini fritter crazy because I'm loving it. And then I did permutations of zucchini fritter by steaming broccoli. You can substitute broccoli by cutting asparagus small and steaming them. So those 3 vegetables have successfully translated into this recipe. But my first one was a zucchini. So I get this Caro Farms. Can you see it? But I have sliced my own zucchini. I have a veggetti. You can get a veggetti and do it. It's a little less expensive, a little more time consuming. So this is my method. So I'm going to open this. I just wanted you to see the box.
Is that from Publix? I don't think I've ever seen it.
Publix. And I never even saw this farm before. Caro. Like, okay.
Like welcome to Miami.
Right, but here's the crazy thing you have to do. Zucchini is a very moist vegetable. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Can you see, Robin?
Yep.
Can you see? Okay.
Perfect.
I'm putting it in a bowl. Okay. And I'm taking a bunch of paper towels and squeezing it. I'm letting the paper towels get full of the moisture, okay? Because a little dry is there. It'll cook up better, drier. All right, good. So now I'm going to put 2 eggs in.
I guess you don't have to scramble it first.
No, definitely not raw. Everything raw.
I didn't mean that. I meant whisk it before.
Oh, no, I don't. Because I'm a hands-on person in so many ways. So I have 2 people in my family who are gluten-free. So I discovered this chickpea flour. And it works just as well as regular flour. So I'm using this today to just introduce you to the flour, to the product, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I have made this with chickpea flour, regular flour, or breadcrumbs, all right? Any of those do very well.
Have you ever done matzah meal at Passover?
I have not gotten to Passover. It's just a few weeks old.
Oh, that's right. You said you just did it.
Right. but I am putting in 3/4 cup of chopped onion, raw.
Mhm.
So no sauteing. This makes it like so wonderful. Putting in a teaspoon of salt. I use Himalayan, but whatever light you like. Himalayan.
Beautiful.
Okay. I'm putting in
You just like the color.
what?
You just like the color.
I do. But I read that there's no nutritional difference, but there's something about it I do like. And this is 2 teaspoons of dill. I did not use fresh dill, but when you use fresh dill, it's very pungent and lovely. So I use 2 teaspoons of dried. If you're using fresh, use 4 teaspoons. Okay?
Mhm.
More is good.
More, as my mother says.
So this morning I stopped at Joanna's and I picked up a block of feta because I like having lots of feta in the house, and I crumbled it for us.
By the way, Trader Joe's has an Israeli feta, which I love.
I've got to try
So
that.
I go to support their products from Israel.
Oh, yeah.
Joanne, do you have to make it with feta?
No, you can make it with parm.
Or do you have to put cheese in it?
No, my
Okay.
friend Susan asked the same question, and I said, I've never done it without cheese. Let me know how it is. She called me yesterday and she said, fabulous.
Good.
Okay, so here's the garbanzo flour. And, okay, I'm taking you for a ride.
Thank you.
A little ride.
We're ready to go.
All right, are we good? Can you see me?
Will, we can see the bowl.
That's all you need to see.
Go.
And so I squirted some oil. I used olive oil.
Mhm.
Okay.
How much did you put in there just to cover the bottom?
Yeah, here, let me just show you. And I just bought this new ceramic pan. I had cooked with it at my friend's house a few weekends ago, and I love that it's so easy to clean.
Nice.
So easy. So this is beautiful, and it's coming together. I usually do stuff by hand because it just really, I can trust it. I can feel when it's right. And this is right when all the ingredients are properly integrated into the pancake. I'm going to heat up the pan now. So you see how quick this was. So far,
How much was that make? Like a dozen pancakes? A small ones?
this could make 8. This could make 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to make one right now so that we can see it. All right, so can you see the texture? It's stuck together.
Delicious.
Lovely, delicious. And I'll be very curious to hear from Enid how you felt about it without the cheese. Would you let Robyn know or let me know in some way? Okay.
Absolutely.
The more I can learn, the better I will enjoy it. So I just make a pancake. Now I do something crazy. I've been experimenting this week a little. My accountant came yesterday and wore her mask, and I made it for her for lunch. And I put a fried egg on top. And it was a fabulous lunch, but it would be a fabulous breakfast. So if you do this and have leftovers, or if you're having a friend for brunch or breakfast, I would say this could be a staple. It's just so desirable. Okay, so see my hand?
Yep.
I think, let me just see if the oil's hot. Yep. You can tell if the oil's hot if it has a little bubble when you put the first little piece in, a test piece. Yeah, I'm just making one.
If you could do us a favor by putting the camera up a little bit so we can see the pan, so we can see it cooking.
I'm just washing my pan.
And Joanne, while you are doing that, can you let us know, do you do the same things every year for all of your holiday meals, or are you always trying to do something new, like a new recipe or a new?
are staples that are, called for on demand. I send out a notice, what would everybody like? Because I like to cook for my people. I'm not cooking for me, I'm cooking for them. I want them to remember it and be very happy. Can you see?
Yep.
Okay, good. So the staple I've been making the last number of years is Joan Nathan's Napa-to-be-in chicken. And I figured out, when I first made it, I followed her directions explicitly. And it took me like an hour at least of preparation. But now I have it down to 15 minutes and it's wonderful.
Nice.
So
I'll
that's
have to check that out too.
my little boys, who are now 6'5", 6'3", and 6'2", always wanted rib roast. My son-in-law wanted pot roast. So many times I'm making 3 types of meat, depending on who's coming. So it's chicken, pot roast, and rib roast, or steak. And then the vegetables have gone from broccoli souffle to carrot souffle to, this year it'll be always potato pancakes. This year it'll be zucchini pancakes as well. Next year it could be broccoli, I don't know. Carrot souffle is heaven. This year it'll be the apple pudding. So aside from the apples and honey, Robin, you really wanted this to be apple-y because that's the symbol of this holiday. And I hedged a little because they don't make the Comstock apples, but then I figured Joanna's could come to the rescue. And if they hadn't, I know how to peel and core an apple myself.
There you go.
There we go. So I love this spatula. It's something the grill chefs use. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that okay on your enamel?
Yeah, I'm just going very gently.
Okay.
And you can make this side a little browner if you wish. And turn it over one more time. Are you seeing it cook?
So are you going to serve those tomorrow night?
I am. I'm going to reserve the rest and make double the portion and make that. It'll be one of the dishes.
Have you ever prepared those in advance, like by freezing them?
Yes, I have. In fact, I usually make too many, so I put it in the refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
And then I usually have it for breakfast or lunch the next day because I just can't stay away from it. I'm not much of a freezing person, but I could learn if you bring someone on board who freezes a lot. I'm always afraid it's going to affect the flavor. So I usually get up at 5 on a holiday morning and cook away. Some days, 19 dishes. One Thanksgiving, that was my record.
That's a little bit much.
It was much.
Nothing like making your life easy, huh?
Yeah. So you can get the sense of this.
Yeah.
And
it looks delicious.
More, but you can see the pan is going to like wash out in 1 second. So this is my new find. I love new kitchen finds. The ceramic coated pan has no Teflon, nothing that can harm us in any way. The cooking is even. The cleaning is 1 second. Maybe 20 seconds to clean a whole pan. Nothing to scrape. I tried making meat in it the other night and nothing stuck, so it was good. Alrighty, so let's see.
I do have a question. When you reheat it, do you reheat it in the oven or do you put it back in the frying pan?
I put it in the toaster oven for like 5 minutes.
At what temperature? Oh, just on toast, kind of?
I'm at 350 for like 5 minutes. But you could also put it in the microwave. You could put it in the microwave on parchment or a plate. It would be just fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's see how this looks.
It looks like it's probably something to do for a smaller gathering of people, because you're only putting one in a pan at a time.
Well, I just gave a small pan for this demonstration.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so normally I would make 5 or 6. And
At a time?
yeah, in a bigger pan.
Okay.
Or in 2 pans, I could make 12.
Okay.
And then it's done in 1 shot.
Love it.
So for this recipe, it's usually like 3 minutes per side. And the color is beautiful. I'm going to put it on paper towel now so that all the oil is gone. So, yeah. So I use.
What else are we serving tomorrow night?
I'm going to be serving these tomorrow night, and potato pancakes. It's a little bit too much pancake, but that's what they're getting. Roasted vegetables, the 3 meats, the apple pudding, 3 desserts, Caesar salad, because everybody loves that.
Nice. Oh,
Okay.
good to see you. We've been watching your stomach.
Oh, God.
No, it's all good.
I sent you some pictures of my Passover, of my Rosh Hashanah table. Do you
Oh,
have
it was
that?
gorgeous. It was beautiful. I guess I could probably share it. I'd have to download it first to share with everybody. But while we're talking, I'll try to do that.
Good.
So how many people are coming tomorrow night?
Will be 11 in the house. Outside, I'm setting 4 bridge tables because my 3 children and their families. I have 2 coming remotely from college, and it'll be very, very nice.
So when you're thinking about this family gathering, besides putting all this time and effort into what the menu looks like and how and the timing with preparing all the food, is there anything else that you like to think about in terms of what makes the perfect family memorable dinner?
There's just so many traditions that we bring with our
Like what?
dinner.
Tell us, share us.
Well, I'm embarrassed a little bit.
Why?
Like I try to find a family gift, usually. Sometimes it's a unisex gift, so everybody has the same thing. And sometimes it's a girl's gift and a boy's gift.
That you give out to everybody who comes?
Usually I have it at the place, or in the middle of dinner sometimes I just say, oh, I just found this, and just like 2 years ago, I found these huge sweaters that I knew the young girls like, cozy sweaters.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, somebody put on Sweet Caroline, everybody ripped off and put the sweaters on, and we were dancing. It's just, when we're together, it's very joyful. Of course, we say our beautiful prayers. This will be Shabbat, so we'll have our candles. Sometimes there's singing. Always love, like a lot of connection. This is going to be different.
I pulled up the pictures. I'm going to try to see if we can share them. Hold on one sec.
Okay.
So it's a little upside down, but it's gorgeous. So it looks like you've put a lot into what's going to be on the table too.
Yes.
A lot of flowers.
Yes,
Some
I
beautiful china. Look at that.
You see the apples and the honey. I arrange the flowers myself each year. I love to do that.
It's so pretty.
And I always have pieces of my grandparents at the table. The silvers from my mom and my grandma's. Those place plates were made for my grandmother. And so it's just
well, that's intentional too. When we think about what makes here, let me stop this. When we're thinking about what we want this moment to be like. So now we have said we've got food and the rest, and the recipes that have been passed down from generation to generation, and from one year to the next within your family, things that have become family favorites, so to speak. We have flowers, we have china from grandparents, and we have plates from grandparents.
Crystal from grandparents.
We have gifts that we bring to the table, not only physical gifts, but we have the gifts of our hearts. All of those things add beautiful ways to like elevate the moment and not just make it like a regular dinner. And you have captured that.
It's really extraordinary, the good feeling I have. It's in my heart to plan days before. I write out menus, I write out recipes, I write out shopping lists. I plan my table. Sometimes I change it 2 or 3 times to make it look the way, it just feels right that year. And this year, my friend Brian is going to say some prayers, and that's going to be beautiful. The children will enjoy that. And I enjoy that very much.
I love that. It's all about the intention. There's a word in Hebrew we call kavanah, and it's your intention and what you want it to be, how you want it to be special and memorable. And you've really inspired all of us to think about, you know, what our table could look like and what we need to be planning for if we haven't already, which I haven't yet. I've been too busy planning for holidays. But you've given me inspiration and I'm not going to be thinking about it.
You've been taking care of everybody else. Come over, I'm making a huge brisket. I'll give you enough for your family.
What time should I come over?
Tomorrow at noon, at 3, it'll be ready. Come over. I'm not
So,
kidding.
you know, when you said, you know, Robin said you got to make something apple thing. And I just thought I would like just kind of take a moment to say, well, why is this important that we have apples? I happen to have a sweet tooth. So my family all knows that anything that has, you know, potential to be sweetened, I'm going to be sweetening it. So put in the sugar, even my salad dressing, I put honey in. Like, I just like
Good for you.
sort of sweet. But it's interesting that when we were trying to, we wish each other, Shana Tova Umituka. We say that you should have not a joyful new year. We say you should have a good new year and that it should be sweet. And so in order to sweeten that year, we symbolize it by eating sweet things. So I'm all in on that idea. And apples have become associated with sweetness. I think it harkens back actually to the Garden of Eden when with Adam and Eve, and is about creation. Our Rosh Hashanah, it's called Hayom Harat Olam, that today is the creation of the world. So it does harken back to the apple orchard in the Garden of Eden. And when we say, whenever we eat apples on the holiday, we're to say a blessing. No surprise, we have a blessing for everything. In fact, we're supposed to say 100 blessings every single day. But there is a specific blessing for eating fruit, especially with apples, and especially at this time on Rosh Hashanah. So I thought that I would kind of teach you that blessing so that you can add that to your table and you can tell Brian that you know the blessing for it too, because he'll be
surprised.
maybe impressed, maybe. But you know, he knows you've been studying, so it's all good.
It's all good.
So we have the beginning part, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, and then we say Borei Pri Ha'etz. Ha'etz, Borei Pri Ha'etz. You know how we say Borei Pri Hagafen for wine? Creator of the fruit of the vine. This is creator of the fruit of the tree. Okay, and I'm going to, and in 1 second, I'm going to finish doing this, and then I'm going to have to move outside because Randy has another online production that he's going to be doing, so I'm going to have to move. So the translation of it is, we praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the tree. And then we have a different text. We have another one, which I won't expect you to remember this one, but we say, Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu shitchadesh aleinu shana tova u'mituka, which you can hear the shana tova u'mituka. May it be your will, eternal our God, that this be a good and sweet year for us. Boy, if we don't need a good and sweet new year this year, I don't know what does. But as I am moving outside or somewhere, I want us to be thinking about what we can intentionally put at our table. Maybe even a discussion that we can have about what would make a good and sweet new year. How can each of us bring that sweetness to the people that we love through the things that we make at the table, the things that we give them, not only the physical things that we can bring them, but also our love, our attention, our compassion. And I think all of those things are things that we can all be thinking about when we're thinking about sweetness in this new year, how we can be that for other people. If we can each bring a little bit of that goodness to the people that we meet, to the people that we love, to the beautiful tables that we create to elevate our Jewish celebrations and to create more beautiful Jewish memories. And that's what's going to be passed on to the next generation. That's what people are going to be remembering, how we made them feel, how we made celebrations so special. When I have, Shabbat has always been a big thing in our family. I didn't grow up with Shabbat, but I had, when, I think it was right after Andrew actually, somehow Randy and I looked at each other and we said, you know, we're going to start doing Shabbat. And Randy's like, we're going to do what? What are we going to do? Because that was not in his plan. But if you asked him now, what was the most transformative thing that we did for our children growing up, it was about carving out time and creating a sense of Shabbat in our family. It was a time to pause, time to laugh and rejoice, and to celebrate with good food and with the intention of sharing love, sharing memories and creating those memories. I mean, so much so that my children do that now for their friends and their families. And that's the greatest satisfaction for me, is to watch them, you know, recreating in their own way a Shabbat experience or any holiday experience. I'm wondering how other people celebrate, if they have any other rituals that they use on the holidays that kind of bring joy and memories to their families. Anybody want to share? Okay. Usually pretty talkative crew.
Okay.
Okay, Marilyn, let us have it.
Okay. When I was growing up, I grew up in a kind of non-religious home, but my father's large family grew up Orthodox. His sister, my Aunt Sarah, would make celebrations for all of the holidays. And I can remember walking into her apartment and smelling that brisket and the simmes. And so that, and she would do this for Rosh Hashanah and for also Pesach. And we would go there and be tortured by people who made us sit at the table too long in this hot, steamy apartment. But I loved it. And so to this day, I always make sure that I do that for my family. And I always tell them, I'm doing this for your great Aunt Sarah. And yesterday, I made brisket for 2 days and had brisket delivery with chicken soup. Thank you for that chicken soup recipe, by the way. Fixed it up with those parsnips really well and delivered it. And I have never seen such happy people in my life. My brother and my 2 children were delighted.
You know, it's not only that it tastes good, but it brings them back with memories. And it's when you cook from your kitchen, it's from your heart, and you put your soul into it. It's part of who you are. You're sharing a piece of your soul with others, and there's just nothing more generous and more loving than sharing something from your kitchen.
So I would like to add something, if I may. I'm often in Israel with my family at this time, and this year I'm not because of COVID. But one of the beautiful things that we all do is sing Rosh Hashanah songs, and the children join in, and there's a lot of joyful singing. And I think we've talked about smells and tastes, but the sounds of Rosh Hashanah I think are also very important.
Do you have a favorite song that you like to hear or sing?
I love the Bashana Haba'ah. That's a beautiful song. And of course there's the shofar blowing, which is what we are supposed to hear on Rosh Hashanah. So.
Yeah, we just had a lunch and learn earlier today. We were talking about the deeper meanings of the shofar blowing and the sounds and how it came to be. And we have a new understanding of it, right, guys? For those of you who are on. But it's true with B'Shana Haba'ah that we sing that on Passover too, but it's so appropriate at this time of year too. It means in the year to come that we should bring peace and love and harmony into this world. So, and maybe be in Israel. That would be really lovely. It would be nice if we could all go to Israel together. We can celebrate one of the holidays there.
Wow.
Maybe one of these times, huh?
Be beautiful.
Who else has some wonderful memories? Amy, I know that you think long and hard about your memories, about your Jewish celebrations. You got on mute.
I'm the wrong one to ask. My family was Jewish, but we always seem to go to somebody else's house, and so I don't have those memories that other people do, and I don't know. Maybe I can create some, but my kids don't live here, and one lives abroad, so.
Well, maybe you can surprise Dell this year
I am. I'm
if
actually.
he's not listening.
No, he's not here, but I'm cooking, so that'll surprise him.
Beautiful.
Well, there is something, not having been raised in a Jewish home, I don't have those memories, but if you know, and getting back to giving something from your own kitchen, if you know people who are first responders who work in hospitals, make something sweet, utterly unhealthy, full of chocolate, full of gooey, sweet, icky stuff. Make it in little muffin cups or something and give it to them to take to their coworkers. I've been
Well,
making
speaking
icky
of
sweets.
your home, Jo Ann, Kathy makes the most beautiful challahs for our community. And speaking of love, every Shabbat, we are graced with her beautiful challahs that she presents. So this is a labor of love.
It is. Bread machine.
Oh, shh.
Hey, if it
Do
was
the
a bread
braiding.
machine,
You do
I'd
the
have two
braiding.
of them.
I can share. I grew up in an Orthodox, my grandparents, strictly Orthodox. And so the Jewish holidays were very similar in that my aunts and uncles, all the cousins, my grandparents were the home that everybody came to. And it was really just, I have wonderful memories of that. This will be the first Rosh Hashanah without, it'll just be me and Mark. We don't have our son here and we can't go to our family because of COVID. So this is going to be a very different one. Just be different.
Yes. I love that you didn't say it wasn't going to be a good one, because it
No.
can. With our intention, we can, like as Jo Ann is bringing, doing her Zoom cooking with everybody, what would it look like if you had all of the family got together, we had a Zoom meeting, and everyone cooked one thing, or we did a l'chaim and we toast to blessings to the new year, and everyone said one thing that they were grateful for and one thing that they were wishing for everybody in this new year. Be a beautiful little moment that we may not have had we not had Zoom. So there are good things to come from.
Now,
Absolutely.
my turn. My granddaughter, my daughter in California. Can you hear me? No.
Yes.
Yes.
And we're going to be doing a Zoom dinner together. And I got your email with the prayers and the activities, and that will be nice. It's the first. Well, we've never really been together for this holiday because they're so far away. But for Passover, they always come. And my granddaughter, since she was about 10 years old, made all the food at the table. She remembers the dishes and the glasses. I have glasses like you had on the table from Czechoslovakia. And it was very special for her. For me, my grandmother was the one who made it special. I mean, I didn't know what it was all about because she spoke Yiddish, but she made her own noodles for the soup. And that was impressive.
That's
I love
great. Amazing.
Yeah.
Asi, do you have any special memories that you create with your family?
Well, when I was growing up, if that's what you mean, my aunt and uncle were really the Jewish part of the family. The ones that held us, excuse me, I have to plug this in, I'm going to lose you, were the ones in the family that held the Jewishness together. And because my father died when I was very young, so they were the ones where we went. And, they were very traditional, and I can recall all the holidays there.
Amazing. Love
But
it.
I haven't really carried anything on at all. And this will just be business as usual.
Oh, well, maybe not. Maybe this will be an inspiration to try something new. Maybe we can do the apple pudding. It sounds easy enough for me. I'm gonna check it out. Marlene, what about you? Do you have any family memories and traditions that you do in your home? Wait, you gotta unmute.
We have a very large family. We all belong to the same temple. And each one of one of my sister-in-laws takes a holiday, my mother-in-law, and after we go to services together, and then after services, like my holiday is Rosh Hashanah, somebody has Yom Kippur, break the fast. And one of the things that I like to do, like this year, in the last couple years, I use my mother-in-law's dishes. And everybody knows when they come to my house that they were Grandma Bobby's dishes. And I have my grandma's candlesticks in the middle of the table. And everything that I have on my table has special memories because they were somebody else's that are now mine. And I have special dishes that I like that my family asked me. Like I make carrot souffle and I'm the only one in the family that makes it. So they look forward to having it every Rosh Hashanah.
Love that. Have you guys,
But this year we're all doing it 6 o'clock on Friday. We're lighting candles together.
Nice.
And then on Saturday at 2:30, we're all going to meet again.
Love that. And do you guys share your recipes? Like, are you sharing them with your family? And Joanne, are you sharing them with your kids?
I wrote a cookbook for my family.
Yes.
My recipes and family photographs. Yeah.
Look, where is that? Let's check it out.
It's in the kitchen. Everybody in the family has a copy. And, you know, it's.
Is it like published?
No. I'm not. One second, here it is. And it's going to have an addendum in time, but I'll show you a couple things. See if I can. I always like take pictures of my tables and other tables. I love that. But the people are, you know, the tables are one thing, and then the crazy stuff is the beautiful people at the table.
Oh, love that. And the memories.
Yeah. So it's that kind of a book. It has as many photographs as it does, and little stories about the recipes and how I got them. And so it's just very nice.
Well, this has been an incredible hour with you, Joanne, and everybody else who's been able to join us. Oh, beautiful. Look at that.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I was looking forward to always seeing you because you're so wonderful, and to meeting people that you are constituents of your temple. And hopefully I'll be closer to all of you.
Thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful time, and thank you for inspiring us. And we wish you all a beautiful, good, and sweet new year. And I just want to mention
wonderful food.
and wonderful food, but
Right.
Memories. You know what? Our Jewish kishkas, our Jewish traditions and rituals are all wrapped up in the memories that we create. And so it's never too late. However old we are or young we are at heart, we have the opportunity to create memories and wrapped around Jewish foods and Jewish rituals that help elevate our lives and pass on memories. And it's not too late. It's always time to do that. So I pray that we can all bring one new tradition to the table that we can elevate and bring meaning to it, whether it's through Zoom or through in person, whoever's able to be together. And I wish for you all a Shana Tova U'Mituka, a good and a sweet new year filled with unlimited memories that we can create together and celebrate all of life.
Thank you.
Joanne, thank you so much.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.